Hey, I'm Caleb Anderson, and this is the Spirit Farm Podcast. We're here for busy professionals, busy people who want to crush their goals, do their dreams without compromising their health, their relationships, or their spiritual life. On this episode, I'm bringing you a friend of mine and a coaching client. His name is Joe Cohen. He is awesome. He has taken what is, for many people, a devastating kidney disease, and he's turning it into good, using it for good, to motivate himself, to be of service to others who are struggling. And this inspiration is going to be an encouragement to you. I just know it. Before we jump to that, I want to make sure that you are aware we have released a brand new coaching program. It's called Renew Your Mind. The timing is perfect, right? Because coming out of this COVID crisis, a lot of people are struggling. Mental health is a major issue. There is a lot of fear, anxiety, worry, overwhelm, and frustration out there. And so we have developed, and we're releasing this coaching program to speak straight to that. If you can relate on any level to wanting more clear mental health, wanting to do your dreams, crush your goals without compromising your mental health, while still being present with your family and friends. And if you want to banish fear and anxiety from your life once and for all, this coaching plan is for you. It's 8 weeks, and we dive into some really helpful teachings that are going to be counterintuitive to a lot of what you know and what you have been taught. But it's going to set you up to build a life free from worry, that you can be at peace while still having your performance edge. There is a call that you can set up with me. I can break this down for you and walk you through it. Go to spiritfarm.live/apply. spiritfarm.live/apply. You can book a call with me. We'll talk for 30, 35, 45 minutes, and we'll get into where it is that you're at, where you want to be, what's getting in the way, and see if this coaching program is a good fit for you and for us. So free 30 to 45 minute coaching call with me, spiritfarm.live/apply. And I hope to have a chat with you. Now, let's jump to this podcast with coaching client and friend, Joe Cohen. Joe, thanks for being on the Spirit Farm Podcast, my man.
Oh, thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
It was great to see you. The cool distressed wood background, the shirt that kind of matches it, the cool arm sleeve tat that's shining through there, looking good.
You know me, I'm one for coordination. You got to coordinate.
You got to coordinate. You've thought it through. You're doing it right. So, Joe, you and I are here doing this podcast interview because, well, I mean, if we go back a little ways, we were neighbors. In Huntington Beach. We were the ones that left. Sad story. We love being here, but I do miss neighbors Joe and Stacy, and I do miss that ocean breeze.
At 72 degrees.
That's 72 degrees. You guys are still holding it down there. Good for you.
That's right. Yeah, well, we definitely miss you in the neighborhood.
Thanks, man. And your cute dog running around too. Yeah.
Good old Molly.
Okay, and then we started doing some coaching, and as we were talking, and I was getting to know even more of your story and your journey, and then learning how you were turning the adversity of your past, your present, into positive, and how you were using that for good. I was like, dude, we got to talk about this publicly. We got to just put this on the podcast. So thank you for agreeing to do this. I think it's awesome for you to be able to kind of solidify and contextualize what it is that you're doing naturally, but now be a little bit more deliberate about it. And it's really great for us to be able to benefit from your motivation, how you do your life, and how you serve people.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a long road. Obviously, you don't start out the way that you intend to be, right? But it's just one of those things where over the time I've had to develop myself so that way I wasn't hurting myself at the same time. I think that's the biggest key is we get into this mode of just going and not paying attention to how we're being affected by the lives that we live. So sometimes you just have to kind of slap yourself in the face and come to reality with it.
Yeah. And so your reality on this journey has been a doozy, and it kind of centers around, or at least one of the key components has been kidney disease.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about the family history and your experience with this kidney disease?
Yeah. So my family is genetically mutated, if you will, with polycystic kidney disease and polycystic liver disease. For anybody who doesn't know what this disease is, it's a genetic disorder. There's autosomal dominant and there's autosomal recessive. The dominant is, your family passes it down to you through your genes. The recessive is more of like just a body mutation, and it can happen in children. It can happen in adults just randomly. But really, 600,000 Americans are affected by this disease.
Hmm.
Over 12 million are affected by this disease throughout the world.
Hmm.
It's a slow progressing disease because it's really derived around your intake, what your body intakes from food, from sugar, from your environment, stress. There's a lot of things kind of help this disease along, and basically what it is you have a normal sized kidney the size of a fist, but over time cysts will develop on your kidneys, making them grow bigger and bigger, and then sucking the function out of the kidney. And so my paternal family carries this disease. It's on my grandmother's side. She passed away from it at the age of 65, mostly because there was no knowledge around it at that time. I mean, lack of technology. I think she was actually one of the first group of patients that started dialysis, which was like a new technology back in the 80s.
Wow.
And then, my uncle passed away from it at the age of 60, more from his habits. He didn't, pay attention to it at all. And he was, living an unhealthy lifestyle, drinking a lot, things of that nature. But my aunt has the full blown polycystic liver disease, had a transplant for both liver and kidney. And then of course my dad has it, and he just, had a transplant a few years back. Super, thankful for that. Unfortunate circumstance that happened out of that, but it, blessed my dad with a new kidney. So the thing about this disease is it's a 50-50 shot. When you have it in your genetic, makeup, you could pass it down or you could not pass it down. And some of the children in my family didn't get it, but more of them actually got it. And so I was actually diagnosed with it at the age of 19. So that was a big deal for me.
Do you typically find out, or let's say just these days in the 2000 plus era, are people finding out pretty young?
They're not, because it doesn't really start to affect you until you're in your older years. Perfect example. I haven't really felt pain from this disease until I turned 40. Now, of course, everybody's going to say once you turn 40, everything starts falling apart. But no, you'll see that there's a definite difference in the pain that you feel with this kidney disease. So people just wouldn't know. Maybe they start to get kidney stones more frequently, or they start to get that flank pain, and they're like, "What's that pain?" And then they end up going to the doctor at an older age. Unless you know about it with your family, makeup, you're not going to go get diagnosed with it. So we actually see at the Polycystic Kidney Foundation that a lot of people are getting diagnosed at a later age when they're already further along with it, and they don't know that they had this.
So for you, it was fortunate. I mean, it's unfortunate that it's prevalent in your family, but it was fortunate that you knew what to look for, and so at 19, you had it figured out. Now today, in your 40s, you've got routines, healthy routines, mindset stuff that we'll talk about. You've got that dialed in. But at 19, how did you handle that news?
Oh man, it was like a death sentence to me, Caleb. I'll never forget sitting in that doctor's office after knowing what my dad had just recently went through, because he had a cyst rupture and he had to be put in the hospital for 5 days. And that's the reason I actually ended up getting the test, was he's like, can you go see if you have this? So I go do the tests, and the doctor says, you have it. You're going to have to change your entire lifestyle. You're not going to be able to work out. You're going to have to sacrifice the things that you love to do. And saying that to a 19-year-old kid is just like, wow. Right. So I immediately went to this just complete, mindset. I'm going to die. We're all going to die. But I just had to, I just thought it was going to be an immediate thing. And so I really started living just a life of just irrationality. I mean, it was one of those things where I just was like, it was almost like I had a death complex. So I'm going to die anyway. So why not do everything to, help it along?
So you had a sense that this diagnosis was going to shorten your life, and in your 19-year-old head, it was probably dramatically short. And so you're like, I'm just going to live it up. I'm just going to do all the things.
Exactly. Exactly. And that was kind of, one of the things that kind of got me to the point where eventually I was like, wow, you made it. Because I remember specifically, sitting on the couch one day in our apartment in Huntington Beach, and I was like completely hungover and just, feeling like crap. And I'm just like, man, am I helping myself by doing this? And I just really came to the realization that I needed to make a change in my life. It was really at the age of 29 that experience happened with me. I was, in a fast-paced business at the time. We were living it up, making good money. And there was just a transition in the market that kind of really helped me kind of get off of my, big head in the clouds. And I was kind of down on my luck. I was, licking my wounds from the market crash, not having a job, still repeating the same process, thinking that, okay, I'll just pick up something else. And I'll never forget, I'm sitting on the couch and I'm like, you know what? If I keep going the way that I'm going, I'm going to end up like my uncle. I'm going to end up in a worse situation than I was, when I was first diagnosed with this, disorder. So from that point on, I really just kind of started making a difference in my life. As a matter of fact, that very day, I signed up for a marathon.
Did you really?
And I thought I was going to run a full marathon, never training for it. So, that worked out. I ended up knocking it down to a half marathon, still completing it. But
dude, a half marathon's no joke.
Yeah.
I mean, that's serious. I've done, I guess I've done 2 of those now, but after the first one, I swore I would never do it again. And I think what was it, 13 miles? And I think I ran 9 and then walked the last 4. But running 9, that was still like 5 miles longer than I'd ever run before that day. I was in so much pain the next day. So that's good for you, even doing that.
Yeah. Well, it took me 4 months to train for it, but thankfully, when I looked on the internet at the time, I was like, oh, okay, I got 4 months to do this, so I can get up to speed. And then of course I was talking to my doctors about it, and they said, are you crazy? You want to put yourself in the hospital? Let's knock it down to a half marathon, see how you do there.
Okay, and so that was 29. You were turning 30.
Yeah, I was just turning 30. Yeah.
And is that when you started? So you made this comment to me before that good came out of this bad situation. Is that when you started to identify positives in the midst of that, or were you able to do it that young at 29, or has that been more recent?
No, it took me a while to get to that point, because I had to figure this out. I was living an unhealthy lifestyle. I'm talking fast food daily, not preparing any of my own meals. There was a time where my wife Stacy, who's always taking really good care of me, we would go to the grocery store and we would buy these frozen meals because they were easy to cook and easy to reheat because I worked until 8 o'clock at night. So she was like, just put it in the microwave and I'd come home and heat it up. So I really needed to change my mindset. And I really didn't even understand at that particular time that this disease is rapidly progressed by what you eat and what you consume. So it took me about 10 years, from that time to really, obviously understand everything. But 5 years to 6 years in, I really got a good idea. And I'm like, hey, this is working. I started dropping weight. I started feeling better. I started doing more active things, obviously keeping my normal regimen in, but I started getting into a regular fitness routine to the point where people started noticing the differences in my lifestyle. And so even one of my best friends today, he was feeling a little overweight, not having a disease or anything of that nature. And he saw the differences in me. He's like, hey, can you kind of give me some, pointers on what you're doing to help yourself? Because I've seen such a dramatic change in you. And then that was the light bulb right there is, oh, hey, I'm doing this for myself, but I can also, inspire others to live their best life as well.
Yep. Yep. Okay. And so you started to develop kind of a philosophy for your life. And you and I have talked as you look back on how that began to take shape. You saw things that were beginning to work. You understood what your limitations were, but instead of just being a victim or instead of just saying YOLO, I'm gonna go crazy even if it cuts my lifespan short. You started to put some things into practice, and it began to shape your view of yourself, your view of God, your view of your life. Can you share with us some of those key factors that you have determined that you now kind of your life runs on?
Yeah, absolutely. It was something that I kind of had to develop for myself because you don't have a roadmap to life. And, thankfully, we have the benefit of your community and the people that you surround yourself. So you just really have to get in a group of people that are going to help you succeed, right? Rather than keep you down, keep dragging you down. But yeah, I had to come up with these core principles because not only is this a physical thing, this is a mental thing as well. There's times when the pain comes in and the reality sets in that this disease is real. And, I have an ailing disease. There's other people in this world that have different types of diseases. And it really comes to about control, what I can control and what I can't control, right? I can control my fitness. I can control my diet, and I can control my mindset on how I, handle this, especially, when it comes to depression and anxiety and stress, right? You can handle, you can control that. Obviously some people need a little help more than others, but again, it's all about your group. It's all about who you surround yourself with. And then of course I can control my team of specialists. I can control how, I react to the depression when it sets in, right? But what I can't control, there's nothing that you can do about it. Pain, you never know when it's going to come with this particular disease. But when it does happen, you got to be able to control what you do to get rid of that pain, right? Fatigue, I'm one of those types of people that just go, right? Today's one of those examples. I'm a busy guy. I'm, meeting after meeting, back to back to back. But there's times, Caleb, with this disease that I wake up and I am in a funk. I am tired. I don't want to do anything, right? But I just gotta, keep that mindset right and keep moving forward, right? And then of course, what I cannot control is when the depression comes. This disease doesn't, or even any ailment that you have, there's good ebbs and flows, goods and bads, right? So you have to be able to understand when those things are down, how to get out of, the woods, if you will. And then of course, the fact that I have this darn disease. I can't control it, but I can do something about it.
Yep. Good for you, dude. Okay, so the first thing I heard you say is know what you can control and what is out of your control. That's great wisdom. And then the second thing, where do you go from there?
Well, I think that the very key thing to that is developing a plan.
Yeah.
You have to get in with specialists. You have to understand who's gonna pay the best attention to you for your physical stature. Now, if you don't have a disease, a team of specialists may look like your fitness coaches, or what gym you sign up for, or who you're watching on YouTube for tips on physical fitness, things of that nature. But for me, it took me a while. I had to go through a couple of different folks. Now I have a really solid team that I feel confident with, and now it's to the point where we're bouncing ideas off of each other. Hey, you know what? You're on this specific drug that will help you slow down the progression, but hey, let's try this diet plan, and see how that affects and helps progress that. And then we're doing the numbers and things of that nature. But think about it from this perspective. You have to consider yourself, whether you're the breadwinner, whether you're the son, whether you're the daughter, whatever it may be, you have to consider yourself like the celebrity, right? You are the celebrity in your environment. LeBron James, for example, Russell Wilson, they spend millions of dollars on themselves just physically, to get themselves to perform at their highest level, right? Now, we don't all have their financial resources, right? But it's important for us to put ourselves in a situation where we understand that we're budgeting for this type of, action that we're taking with our lives. And then, of course, when in developing a plan, you also have to be mindful of your diet, right? I mean,
yes.
One of the things that really stood out to me as I've been going through my spiritual journey is when I'm reading the Bible, or when I'm having my spiritual mindfulness in the morning, there's passages from the Bible that will stand out that are relevant to me. And 1 Corinthians 10:31 says, so whether you eat or drink or whatever you do it all for the glory of God. Right? And so we have to pay attention to what we're eating, but we also have to pay attention to how we're treating our bodies, right? Our body is our temple, right? So we have to treat it the best way we can. So it's important that we take care of our bodies, so that way we can have the most energy we possibly can to get through with what we're doing.
Yeah, dude. So that's awesome. So in developing a plan, I hear you saying that seek a specialist. In other words, seek some key people in terms of community, maybe a key person or some key people in terms of coaching. So and then in addition, maybe someone else that has like been where you are.
Yeah.
Whether they have that disease or they just know what it means to go through hard times like that. I appreciate the LeBron James reference too. I know that those guys spend tons of money keeping themselves in peak form. On a smaller scale, that's a good helpful tip to like put into your budget taking care of yourself, because we know if we can't take care of ourselves, how are we going to take care of the people that God entrusts to us? Whether it's kids or whether it's cousins or whether it's neighbors or whether it's coworkers or employees or whatever. If I'm not taking care of me, I'm not going to take care of them well. And then in terms of, what did you say, your diet? So it's kind of like your physical diet, but also your mental diet, your spiritual diet. You're kind of like managing the inputs, what you're letting not just into your body, but into your mind. Is that right?
Yeah. Yep, absolutely. Yeah, that's the key, right? You it's not just getting in the gym and lifting weights until you're tired, right? It's not just, waking up in the morning and getting right after it. It's also a mindfulness thing. I'm very thankful for the Spirit Farm, community, because COVID in particular, I'm a sociable guy. I don't know if you can
You
tell
are
that
a social guy.
I'm a sociable guy. So when I was locked in, and I didn't have any social, interactivity, it was really tough for me. I was downward spiraling. I was, having a hard time staying motivated. And then, you approached me with, your coaching, man, and it's really changed my life. So I'm very thankful for that.
Yeah, dude. Well, I'm thankful for you. Thanks for saying that, and I'm proud of you for the actions that you take and how you serve other people based on what you're able to do in your own life. And you're doing that. You're doing that right now. So I don't want to derail you. You've got a third point you want to hit too. Let me just recap for us so that we can stay up with you. The first was know what you can and can't control. The second was to develop a plan. And then what's your third?
The third would be to, make sure that you understand that, there's a time and a place for everything, right? When it comes to diet, when it comes to fitness, I was just listening to the Whole30, on the teachings. The best workout that that you'll do is the one that you'll actually do, right?
Oh yeah, the world's greatest exercise is the one you'll do.
Yeah, the world's greatest exercise is the one that you'll do, right?
Yeah,
So,
right.
I once read a book called Fitness Confidential, by a guy named Vidi Torich, and there's a quote from this book that says, "It's not about what you eat on the holidays; it's about what you eat between the holidays."
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
So, I'm a strict diet guy, right? But I also have the same tastes as everybody else. I want the pancakes. I want the mashed potatoes and the turkey dinner and all that kind of stuff like that. So there's a time and a place for everything. It's really important for you guys to not overthink it, right? You have to know that Monday through Friday, you're on that diet that best way you possibly can be. Obviously, there's going to be some road bumps, but Saturday and Sunday, eat some nachos.
All in moderation.
Yeah, but also too, try different things. I'm on a vegan keto diet right now. This has actually been the cultivation of different diet plans that I've dabbled in over the years. So, you got to try different things. If one thing's not working, change it, right? Don't just say, oh, that didn't work for me, I'm going to stop and go back to what I was doing before. Change it. Keep going in the right direction, right? I'm always constantly changing my plans, but one of the things that my wife and I have done, a part of planning, is making sure that we plan our meals. Sunday's the grocery shopping day. We set ourselves a menu for 4 days out of the week. We're cooking at home. And then we go execute that menu inside the store, right? And some other positive thing that came from the COVID lockdown is we got used to the meal delivery kits, the HelloFresh, the Green Chef, the Fitness Kitchen, things of that nature, because a lot of people get hung up on time, right? I don't have time to cook. I don't have time to plan. I don't have time to do this, right? We all have the same 24 hours in the day. What are we doing with them? Right. So
yeah, I don't have time to eat healthy. And so we put unhealthy crap into our body because we're just going fast. So give us a pro tip on those delivery services. Which is the best in your opinion, or give us the pros and cons on each of the ones that you named?
Well, so we've tried pretty much all of them. I could say that they're pretty similar. Some of the flavors are a little off on a few of them. I had the most success with Green Chef and Purple Carrot as far as consistency of the product, right? Because sometimes you'll get the box and it won't have as fresh of vegetables or something like that. But we've actually had real good success with Purple Carrot. And for those of you who don't know who owns Purple Carrot, it's Tom Brady. So Stacy calls it Tom's here, and she caught me off guard one time, and she said, "Tom's here," and I'm like, "Who?"
Oh man, what does that guy not do?
I know he's everything he touches is gold. I had to stop hating him because I was like, you know what? He's doing it. You know what I mean?
He's doing it, man. He's doing it. He is doing it. All right, so that's Purple Carrot.
Yeah.
And I love it. Hill and I have not tried the meal deliveries yet. So many friends and family do. I'm not sure why we haven't just done it yet. Maybe it's like the 3-kid dynamic. We're trying to figure that out. But Purple Carrot, that'll be the one that we test first.
Yeah, it's vegetarian, so be prepared. It's
Uh,
yeah. So
maybe
yeah.
maybe I'll test HelloFresh first.
HelloFresh is a good start. HelloFresh
So
is a good start.
Purple Carrot's vegetarian only?
Yeah, it's
Oh
vegan.
wow. Okay,
Yeah,
it's
they
vegan.
even give you cashew butter instead of peanut butter, and
Wow.
it gets pretty
Does Tom Brady
unique.
not eat meat?
He's a vegan. That's why he's
No
TB12.
way.
Here we are promoting Tom Brady. Look at that. Guys just got everything.
That is surprising. Okay, cool.
So, and then of course, the fitness regimen, right? You just got to, have a combination that you're willing to do with. I coach my mom a lot, and she has knee problems. And I'm like, look, Mom, I'm not asking you to do what I do. Don't try and compare yourself to me. Just go for a walk around the block. Take the dog out for a quick walk around the block. Get your heart rate up. And then once you feel confident, then you can start jogging. And then you could start, doing some other things. So just, if you're at a certain, level of fitness, start there. Just a simple walk, right? But if you're advanced like I am, high intensity interval training, let's go, let's get it on. But then the other key factor to this is your relationships. You got to have buy-in from your inner circle. Because when I made the change to being a vegan, I had to have that conversation with my wife, and she's slowly come to the realization that, hey, she feels better as a vegan, so she's just on board and full into it. And, my dad, he's a meat and potatoes guy, so in this veganism journey, I've had to figure out a way to say, hey, I'm going to make good decisions myself, but then we're going to add some protein in for you, some animal protein for you, or something like that, right? So your inner circle has to be on board with the transition that you're making for yourself, because if you can't do it, if they can't do it with you, you're going to be unsuccessful.
Now, that part is not easy because as someone who is married, you're one of you is buying groceries, one of you is prepping, one of you is cleaning up, one of you. So it's a lot of tag team and teamwork. What do you do? Have you had any experience, whether it's with Stacy or with parents or friends, where you're trying to like invite them into it with you, so that you don't feel like you're showing up to everything with a Tupperware and you're an inconvenience for everybody or whatever? How have you navigated that with those friends and family?
Oh, that's the biggest challenge. We actually just had a barbecue for Easter Sunday, right? And they were cooking salmon and a brisket on the smoker. And they're like, yeah, come on over, jump in the pool, so on and so forth. So what I did is I said, hey, I'm not going to be that guy that shows up with my own meal. I'm going to be the guy who shows up with enough of the meal for everybody to share with me. And then I just won't eat the meat stuff. Right. And so I cooked this awesome Brussels sprouts, Szechuan stir fry. And everybody was like, whoa, I didn't know Brussels sprouts could taste that good. So basically what I do is I just try and, bring a nice recipe that I'm really confident in to show people I'm not just eating, raw celery every day. Yeah. You can make food fun, right? You just have to be, assertive with it.
Joe, that's so good, dude, because then you're inviting people into your journey and you're blessing them with your journey, right? So if you just show up with your own Tupperware, then you're kind of excluding yourself again. But if you show up with something delicious that everyone can enjoy, you're bringing them into your journey. And I mean, you're setting a good example. And not that eating meat is good or bad or right or wrong, but you're probably making healthier dietary choices than most of your friends and family, right? So you're setting a good example, and that's a great way to bring people in.
Yeah.
and they're more likely to rally around your cause and support you.
Yep, absolutely. And they're also gonna not run away when you invite them over for dinner.
Right, right. They'll trust that there'll be something there that they can eat.
Yeah, absolutely. So bring your own meat.
Bring your own meat. Bring your own meat. Well, and
But
let's just finish up on that because the vegan part of it has been newer, right?
yeah,
And so how much better do you feel in this last season that you've been on the current diet?
I gotta tell you, I'm on fire. I feel so good. The pain has subsided. There was a moment for the last about basic year that I was feeling pain from this disease every single day. And there's where that depression comes in, right? You wake up every day hoping that it's going to be a pain-free day, right? And when it's not, it affects your mental state. So
Sure.
I started this diet because of the connections and the network that I built. I mentioned the PKD Foundation. So really, I got involved with the PKD Foundation to raise money, raise awareness, right? And as a result, I get fed information on latest technologies. And, so that gives me the opportunity to jump in on a drug trial or jump in on a study, right? And because that, if I can actually go into this study and help myself, and then it'll also trickle down to the other people who are either at beginning stages or my same stage or further along, now I'm also making an impact on other people's lives as well. So I started this vegan ketosis diet with Dr. Wimes out of Santa Barbara College. And he basically identified that this your body being in ketosis is actually reversing the effects of the disease. And I got to tell you, I feel like it's working because I haven't had any pain since I've been on this diet, and my energy levels are through the roof. I mean, I'm doing yoga in the morning and following it up with a high intensity workout in the middle of the day, doing strength training. Whereas before I got on this diet, I was lethargic. I was feeling the energy sucked from this disease. So I'm really excited about where I'm at with the fitness levels.
That's awesome, dude. That's awesome. Okay, so you create a plan. The plan involves doing the exercise that you can. It involves being serious about your diet and bringing the people into it, bringing the folks into it to support you. And I love how you framed that. And then what's the next piece?
The next piece is surrender control to God. My relationship with God has just grown over the years. I'm 43 now. I was, baptized Catholic, going to church with my grandparents, but, I kind of got away from all of it and never really had a personal relationship with God. And, now, I was baptized 5.5 years ago. Even though in the Catholic religion you get baptized when you are a baby, but I wanted to be baptized because it was my choice. One of the things I again in my Bible readings is something that stood out to me was because you're in this situation, you can get down on yourself and you can say, "Woe is me," right? So I was reading one day, and 2 Corinthians 12:9 came out to me and said, "But he said to me, my grace is sufficient for you. For my power is made perfect in weakness. Therefore, I will boast all the more gladly about my weaknesses, so that Christ's power may rest on me." And that fired me up. That charged me up. This disease is not, taking control of me. That I am taking control of this disease and showing people to the world that it's not a death sentence. You can help this disease reduce in progression by your habits and your choices. So that is really a big thing, is having a personal relationship with God that has really just kept his hand on my back going forward. And it's just been an amazing experience.
Mm. That's awesome, dude. Yeah, and I affirm that. I've seen that in you. We talk about the routines that you have and how important it is to wake up in the morning and start right. You know, getting your mind right, uh, being authentic with your heart, how you feel, connecting to your soul or spirit, connecting to God, and how integrating that into the day to day has just made a world of a difference. And but it's you. I mean, you just got to wake up and choose it, right? I mean, it's not
Yep.
easy. There's days where you have the kidney pain and you don't feel like it. You just feel like complaining, but somehow getting ourselves, you, me, all of us, to the place where, despite the circumstances, I'm going to get up and think about things I can be thankful for. I'm going to get up and I'm going to do the next thing. I'm going to get up. I'm going to keep getting up.
Yeah.
Um,
That's the thing is you just got to keep getting up. And when you don't feel like it and you go sit wherever you want to sit in your quiet area, or, at your prayer rock, or you go take your walk around the block and you have something playing in your ears, or whatever it may be, when you actually get yourself out of bed and go do it, you're going to be even more thankful that you did it. And
yeah.
the things that have been helping me the most is, um, like I said, in the morning, get some yoga time in, get that body stretching. God, I didn't realize how much my hips were so tight until I started doing yoga.
Mm,
But then, right after you do, they call it shavasana, where you're just kind of laying down and you just get into this meditation mindset, and you let the music play and you start being thankful. You start going over your gratitudes, and
mm,
start thinking about, how you're going to, attack the day. And then, getting right into something spiritual, maybe, listening to an audiobook, listening to a podcast, listening to something that's going to keep your mindset going, in the right direction. And then, again, having a plan for your day every single day is going to help alleviate a lot of stress in your life. You know, the time management is a big factor in everybody's stressful lives. And if
yeah.
you're not creating a plan for your day, you're basically creating a plan to fail. I think Benjamin Franklin said that, right? If you're not planning, you're planning to fail.
Yep. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's very important for you to have that, spiritual mindset and being thankful for it.
Well, and it circles back to your first point, which was control what you can and know what you can't. And the stuff you can't control, you have to surrender, right? I mean,
Yeah.
there's no other choice. You let it bring you down, worrying about it or being anxious about it or being depressed about it, unless you surrender it.
Yeah.
That
Surrender
that's the
it.
best alternative, is just to surrender to the God who's bigger than us.
I think
And
that, it's important for us all to ask, what's the why, right? You know, how is God using me in this situation?
hmm,
That's key,
hmm.
right? It goes back to the Second Corinthians verse I just mentioned. How is this disease is not me, right?
Right, it
I'm
doesn't,
gonna
yeah, it's not who you are.
not
It's
It's not who
just
I
something you
am.
have. Yeah.
It's just something I have. How can I help others who are in my situation? How can
Yeah.
I help make an impact in their lives and help them get out of their funk?
Well, dude, that's what you told me was your final point in philosophy. It's
Yeah.
to take what you've been dealt, and then how do you give back and serve others, right?
Yeah, give back. We're all called to, give back. I mean, there's so many passages in the Bible that talk about giving back, right? Giving your time, giving your, financial, capabilities, whatever it is. The littlest thing can have the greatest impact. So some of the things that I've done, being involved in charitable run walks,
Mm,
because, I have the physical fitness right now to be able to run, thankfully. I have the
mm,
physical fitness right now to be able to cycle, all of these things. So I get
mm,
involved in those, the fundraisers, donate to the charity, and I'm going to go do some physical activity. And guess what?
mm,
I'm going to meet some more people who are in my situation
mm,
that I can now have impact on. Beach cleanup days, church organized events. We all know our local churches, they're all about making an impact on their community. So you can get involved that way.
Mm.
Whatever it may be, clothing drives, food drives, whatever you feel will have the biggest impact. And, maybe I can call it a little bit selfish because it makes me feel so good. When I'm, doing this stuff, I volunteer for Surfers Healing. And that's the charity that basically puts autistic children on surfboards.
Awesome.
Wow, I surf. Oh my gosh, I can actually have an impact on these families to put these children on surfboards safely, of course. That's why we're all out there. But someone came up to me and asked me why am I doing this, right? Why am I volunteering my time? And I says, it's kind of selfish, but it makes me feel good. But I'm called to do it.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. When we're taught it's better to give than receive, it's not just someone wagging their finger as a moral imperative. It's like literally better to give than receive. It feels better. It's better. It feels good to them. It feels even better to us to be the one to be able to give. It celebrates the gifts that God's given us that we can then in turn pour out into other people. And it helps us stay in that mindset of gratitude and a positive outlook of, controlling what you can.
Right. And then who knows, when you're at that charitable event, someone might have an impact on you in a different way that you didn't think about. Right. So, it's all about your network. It's all about your planning. It's all about your inner circle. And it's all about, not taking it as a negative, but taking it as a positive. How can I use this to, bless others?
Joe, you're a stud, dude. I'm grateful for you. I'm grateful that we get to journey together through this coaching deal. I'm also just grateful for your friendship. You're a great example. What can you tell us about what the stuff that you got going on now and what you're excited for in the next few years?
Oh man, there's just so many things going on. Obviously, we got the day job thing. I just recently started a business, so I'm excited about that. And I'm excited that I'm fully vaccinated now. Whatever your thoughts are, whatever your opinions are, or your beliefs, I'm excited to get back to being able to shaking people's hands and being social and going to these networking events and getting back to being involved in these organizations. So I'm super excited about the opportunity to get back to life as we see it. Obviously, there's going to be some new rules that we have to, get used to and adapt to. But I'm ready to get back out there and start, getting back to things.
I love it, dude. I love it. Well, thank you for your time. Thank you for your words of wisdom. And thank you for the good that you're doing in the world, taking your challenge of a situation and turning that into a benefit as you love and serve and inspire other people. This is just one way, but I know you're going to keep doing it in lots of ways. It's going to be fun to watch.
Yeah, these are the principles I live my life by. People out there listening can take what they want from it. But my mission is to inspire people to perform at their highest level. So I hope, somebody was impacted by what we're doing here today.
Absolutely, dude. Absolutely. Thanks, Joe.
Thank you, Caleb.